Yes, hello, welcome folks, and it is more tabletop coverage today on the channel. This is going to be the second part of our Marvel United X-Men game coverage, and in this installment we're going to be taking a closer look at the Blue Team expansion. Let's get into it. Here we go then. Here is the Marvel United X-Men Blue Team expansion pack. And just as with the core set, I think we need to pause for a moment and soak in this tremendous artwork. I am loving the super deformed, kind of cartoony, chibi look of the interpretation, the character interpretation, by an individual by Eduardo Guiton, I want to say, and again, apologies for any mispronunciation there, Eduardo, but I'm loving your work. Very dynamic, lots of action, very colourful, really vivid, lots of shelf presence. Loving that. Well done, Spin Master Games. Well done, CMON. A great hire there. So yeah, loving that. Just really soak it in, folks. Soak it in. Let's take a look at the back, and you're pretty much getting what you would expect from the back of a board game expansion. We've got a bit of blurb here. Getting mutants to work together towards a common goal has always been a challenging task, as Professor X can attest. The X-Men know that standing united is their best bet to defeat the most dangerous villains. Nevertheless, the various hero teams are constantly bickering and competing with each other, with these grievances often escalating to outright violence between them and playing into the hands of the villains. The blue team will stop at nothing to make sure they are the ones to bring down the villain, and no one will stand in their way. So a nice little bit of blurb there. Then we've got some pictures of the included figures, some gameplay there, photo of the gameplay, description of the gameplay here, and one of the key things with this expansion that you'll note if you look at the particulars over here, still 14 plus, but it expands the player count 1 to 7. It also points out on the back here that in order to play you need one of the core boxes, either the X-Men or the original Marvel United game there, in order to enjoy this expansion. List of components in several different languages, and then all the legalese, all the legal malarkey there. Please don't eat your figures, they are a choking risk. So there we are, there's the outer experience. Let's now take a look at the guts inside. Let's pop the lid then. I've already taken the cellophane off just to speed things up. And what have we got here? The first thing we have here, it appears, is a little rules insert. So as it said on the back, in order to play the game, you need the core set with the main rulebook in it. But it appears here we've got a rules insert for the team versus team mode. So with the introduction of a second X-Men team there, you've got the team versus team mode. Just a little 2-pager with some rules breakdown, and then some FAQs on the back there, so I'll have a closer look at that later. Then we've got the villain card for Mr. Sinister. That looks pretty good. Blue team, gold team little card. Actually, one thing I didn't mention when I opened up the core set, but I will mention now, is that I'm a little disappointed at the flimsy nature of the kind of board gamey card elements there. They're a bit floppy. Yeah. Then a token section, the locations, and we've got Excalibur Lighthouse, the Savage Land, Madripoor, and the Mojoverse. Again, all very popular, well-known locations to X-Men comic fans. You can definitely see, actually, the cardboard quality. See how it's kind of all... I don't know if you can see that on camera. It's all scraped and coming away at the top there. So, yeah, again, a bit disappointed with the card quality of the pieces. Then in the main body, we've got this plastic insert. We've got a lid on the top there. Let's take that off. And you can see we've got these little rings in a bag here, which fits into an insert section there. These fit on the bases of the figures for the team versus team mode, which I know from their very comprehensive video series on the Kickstarter. The deck of cards, which I'll just quickly pop open off camera. There we go. I'll just put a little cut along the seam there to make it a bit easier to crack them open. And in here we've got a deck of cards for each of the characters included. We'll have a closer look at them when we have a look at the miniatures in a minute. So that's Jubilee, Banshee, Gambit here, Psylocke. Loving all the different colours and the artwork. The cardstock's a bit flimsy too, but not too bad. Threat deck, the Mr. Sinister villain deck, and then the extra little bits around threats and thugs and civilians and villains. And a card here about the Accelerated Villain Challenge. And then the minis, as you can see, just like with the core set, I've got their own little moulded section to fit into. These look really good in this set, actually, but we'll get a bit closer on the camera on these in a second. So there you go, there's your plastic insert with a space for everything included. Right, let's have a look at the figures now, shall we? Okay, well, a closer look at the minifigures now, as promised. I've got Mr. Sinister rotating around to get us started off. Mr. Sinister is a villain in the game, and so he is in the red moulded plastic there. And he just solely plays that function in the game. That also means he comes with a villain card here, with his special setup information, and then any special rules or information you need to know throughout the game. He's got his villain deck, with some character artwork on the back, and then his villain actions here. Well, no name. Oh, Genius, Geneticist, and Master Manipulator there, his main actions. And then the threat deck. Wonderful, wonderful minifigure. Really great sculpt on that. Lots of attention to detail. Can sort of see the lines in his classic Mr. Sinister armour, and the way that very peculiar cape that he uses is flowing around is really super eye-catching. And also, again, I mentioned this when I did the core set, Mr. Sinister as a bit of a bigger, beefier character who's known for being a little bit kind of larger and more imposing in size compared to other characters in the comic book, is in scale, in the minifigure, a little bit larger, a little bit more imposing. So really pleased to see that level of attention to detail. So I hope you're enjoying the little rotating view there, giving you a better look at the fig. But there you go, Mr. Sinister, the villain in the Blue Team box set. On to the hero characters now, and you'll see I've got the Rogue minifigure rotating around for you over there on the far side of the screen, so you can take a closer look at that. Not assuming that you've seen my core set video, I'll just point out that the heroes are in the blue mould colour scheme, so Mr. Sinister was red to say villain, Rogue is there in the blue mould to indicate hero. Heroes come with a hero deck with their actions. You can tell those by the character artwork and the coloured backgrounds on them, but they've also got some extra artwork on the main body of the cards. Here's Rogue's power absorption ability, and some artwork there with with Angel's wings and Wolverine's claws and Psylocke's psychic sword and Jean Grey's telepathy. That's quite a nice little pick there. We've also got the card art there that replicates let's bring that a bit closer. The card art there that replicates the pose that the minifigure is in. That's quite often the case, is that you'll find a card that's got the minifigure stance in it. We've then got Rogue landing a punch, using her super strength to show a villain what for. And then we've got Rogue flying through the air, leaping into action. Another great minifigure. I'm going to sound super repetitive, especially if you've watched any of the other videos from this review series, because I just love the way the minifigures really communicate that diving into action, lots of energy, lots of lovely sculpt detail and texture in them, like the hair and the texture of the jackets that they're wearing and such like, and Rogue is no different, especially the hair. That big Rogue 90s hair rock kind of image of hers really stands out on the minifig. So there you go. There's Rogue. I hope you enjoyed that closer look. Next in the hero lineup from the Blue Team box, we've got Gambit, and I've got the minifigure rotating around on the far side of the screen there for you, so you could take a closer look at the sculpt. He is a hero, so he's in the blue mould colour scheme, and like all the other heroes, he's got a hero deck indicated by the character artwork and the coloured background. There's some more artwork on the other side of the card there, very classically kind of Gambit-y looking images with the kinetically charged playing cards and the bow staff on that one there. Then some more kinetically charged playing cards and a bow staff on that one there. Then we've got Gambit doing an acrobatic maneuver with his bow staff flying through the air there. And then we've got here, there it is, that one there, which is the artwork, the image that I believe, looking at it, I'm looking at the minifigure, I'm glancing, I think that's the one. That's the artwork that's replicating the minifigure. Yeah, Master Thief and Molecular Acceleration, the name of those actions there. So Gambit, again, another great sculpt. You could really, I've just mentioned about the kinetically charged playing cards. He's throwing those. He's got his bow staff. The coat billowing as he's leaping into action. So another great sculpt. His hair just flying wildly in the wind because he's moving so fast, of course, to get into the action that his hair's just flopping about. Or he's like me and he just doesn't care. So yeah, another great minifigure there, another great sculpt, and there's a look at the artwork. Carrying on with the heroes then, and I've got Psylocke now rotating around over there for you to take a closer look at the figure. Another hero, so in the blue mould there. Another example of a very dynamic, very action shot style minifigure with a wonderful sculpt on it. Like all the other heroes, Psylocke comes with a deck of her own with the character artwork and the coloured background there, which looks really great. I like the hand at the back there with her psychic sword, her psychic dagger thing that she does. So Psylocke, very popular character from the 90s, of course. Let's flip it over, take a close look at the artwork. So there we go, there's Psylocke getting into the action with her katana and her psychic blade ready for action. There's another example of her using her psychic blade in combat with the villains. Here, oh no, hang on, we've looked at that one. There's the next one. I think that one might be, yeah, looking at it, that's the card artwork that's been used for the figure sculpt with her sword and her psychic dagger out on a bit of rubble there. And then finally, we've got Psylocke using her psionic blast there, as indicated. If you saw my core set video, you'll understand this, as indicated by the placement of hands on the temple. Characters with telepathy, telekinesis, and psychic powers can only use them if they place their hands on their temple. That's a rule, that's a thing. So yeah, there you go, psionic blast and telepathy. So another great sculpt, another great figure. I'm going to stop banging on about it now. Tell you one thing though, I don't know about you, I love the purple. I love the purple colour scheme. I used to have a gorgeous purple shirt in a very similar shade of purple to that. And now I'm fondly remembering that shirt that doesn't fit me anymore. That's your lockdown pounds for you, I suppose. Banshee next on the turntable there for you folks, so take a closer look at the sculpt of the figure as he's rotating around there. He is of course in the blue mould to indicate that he's part of the hero team, and like all the other heroes he has a hero deck of his own with the character artwork and the coloured background there. I feel like they made Banshee look a lot younger than I seem to think of him as. Without the sideburns. I always picture him with the sideburns. So let's take a look on the other side here. So we've got Banshee flying through the air, leaping into action, as many of them are in these artwork. Here's one with his Banshee cape flowing a great deal in the wind, which the sculpt actually really leans into that flowing cape kind of look and feel on Banshee. There he is with his very classically, the visual representation of his sonic scream powers there with the little sound circles coming out of his mouth. And then we have, is it that one? Is that the one we've not looked at yet? I think that's the one we've not looked at yet. Which is the one that's, I think that might be the one that the figure, I'm looking at the figure there, the minifigure sculpt, I think is based on that one by the looks of it. It's a toss-up really, it could be a little bit that one. He has got his leg up in the air. Oh, I'm not sure he's standing on something in the minifigure. Maybe the minifigure doesn't have a card image. Who knows? Anyway. So there we go. There's Banshee. Another wonderful sculpt. Another very dynamic, energetic piece of action going on there in the minifigure sculpt. I hope you enjoyed the closer look. And last, but by no means least, finishing off not only the heroes, but all the minifigures that come with the Marvel United X-Men Blue Team expansion, we have Jubilee there, rotating around, as I've done with all the others, to show you a closer look at the figure and the sculpt. She just represents everything that is 90s X-Men to me, and just 90s comic books in general, really. She's in the blue mould, she's part of the hero team, and like all the other heroes, she has a hero deck of her own with the character artwork and the coloured background there. Let's take a closer look at the artwork on the cards themselves. So there we go, we've got a Jubilee. Like all the others, a kind of action, leaping into the action shot there. We've got Jubilee using her kind of sparkly, zappy powers. Look at the size of the earrings on. I'm just laughing. That's some big old X-person earrings there. Look at that. Here's Jubilee having some downtime using her powers in a more entertaining way. Look at that smile on her face there, loving it. And then finally we've got the Jubilee figure that I think it... wait a minute. It's that one there that we've not seen yet. Which is, of course, the artwork that is represented in the minifigure sculpt. There we go. So, yeah, there we go. There's Jubilee. Explosive light blasts and psionic shields. Lovely, yeah. And there is the last, like I say, not the last of the heroes and the last of the minifigures that is included in the set. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our second instalment of the Marvel United X-Men game unboxing series. We've looked at the Blue Team expansion today, but keep your eye out for part 3, where we'll be looking at the X-Force expansion, with loads of really lovely figures in there. If you've enjoyed the unboxing today, then please do take a moment to give me a like and a subscribe, particularly if you don't want to miss out on part 3. Make sure you click that subscribe and the old notification bell. I've been calling out for some feedback. Please take a moment to drop into the comments down below. I'd like to know if the close-up cam, the rotating view, closer look at the figures, was something that you found beneficial or not. So please go and give me that feedback down below. Otherwise, I've been Chris. This is Mod Extra Games and Collectibles. I'm really glad you came and spent some time with me today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, see you later then, folks.